Musicality. What is musicality? Can it be found in songs? In words? What makes something musical? Musicality makes something pleasant to read or hear because it is pleasant to the ears. Song lyrics often sound musical when they are sung, but when their lyrics are read out loud like a poem, it is difficult to argue the lyrics have musicality. For example, Taylor Swift's song You Belong With Me is catchy when sung, but when her lyrics are read out loud, they sound cheesy and don't make sense. If you could see that I'm the one who understands you, been here all along, so why can't you see you belong with me? You belong with me. Though her song has rhyme and some rhythm, her lyrics don't make sense, and all the rhymes make the lyrics sound like a nursery rhyme and very childish. But what about poems? What makes poems musical? Poems use meter, rhyme, rhythm, and line breaks to make their poems sound musical and pleasing to the ear. Robert Browning, in a selection of his poem, My Last Duchess, writes using elements of poetry to make his poem musical. Sir, it was all one, my favor at her breast, the dropping of the daylight in the west, the bough of the cherry some foliage full broke in the orchard for her, the white mule she rode with round the terrace, all in each would draw from her alike the approving speech, or blush, at least. She thanked men, good, but thanked somehow, I know not how, as if she ranked my gift of 900 years old name with anybody's gift. Browning uses rhyme to create a rhyme scheme of AA, BB, CC, DD, EF. The last two lines do not follow the previous line that have rhyming couplets, which are a pair of lines next to each other with the same rhyme. This draws attention to the last two lines and emphasizes the last thought of the poem. Browning also writes in iambic pentameter, which is an unstressed syllable followed by a stressed syllable. This sounds like da-dum, 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 da-dum. Iambic pentameter, pentameter meaning 5, requires 5 meters, the pattern of da-dum, in order to be considered iambic pentameter. In another poem, Paradise Lost, by John Milton, he uses similar yet different elements of poetry to make his poem musical. The mind in its own place, and in itself can make a heaven of hell, and a hell of heaven. What matter where, if I be still the same, and what I should be, all but less than he whom thunder hath made greater. Here at least we shall be free. The Almighty hath not built here for his envy, will not drive us hence. Here we may reign secure, and in my choice, to reign is worth ambition though in hell. Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven. Milton doesn't use rhyme in his poem, but his poem is also written in iambic pentameter. Unrhymed poems written in iambic pentameter are called blank verse. Milton's lines are mostly enjambed. Enjambment is the breaking of lines in the poem when the syntax is incomplete, and the reader skips to the next line without a pause. Browne's poem was also enjambed. The Tragical History of Dr. Faustus by Christopher Marwell uses elements of poetry to make his poem musical. Was this the face that launched 1,000 ships, and burnt the topless towers of Lytham? Sweet Helen, make me immortal with a kiss. Her lips suck forth my soul, see where it flies. Come, Helen, come, give me my soul again. Here I dwell, for heaven is in these lips, and all is dross that is not Helena. Marlowe's poem has a few rhymes in it, such as ships, lips, and kiss. Ship and lips clearly rhyme, but kiss does not completely rhyme with the other two. This is called a slant rhyme, when a word does not completely rhyme, but still sounds similar enough to rhyme with other words. Marlowe also writes in iambic pentameter, like the previous poems, following the da-dum pattern. Another element of poetry Marlowe uses is end-stop lines, which is when the syntax ends with the line break. This forces the reader to pause at the end of each line. Alexander Pope wrote an essay on criticism, using elements of poetry to please the reader's ear with musicality. True ease in writing comes from art, not chance, as those who move easiest who have learned to dance. 'Tis not enough, no harshness gives offense, the sound must seem an echo to the sense. Soft is the strain when zephyr gently blows, and the smooth stream in smoother numbers flows. But when the sound surges lash the sounding shore, the hoarse, rough verse should like the torrent roar. Pope writes using rhyming couplets, which are two lines placed together with the same rhyme. His lines are also end-stopped and are written in iambic pentameter. Since a poem has rhyming couplets, end-stopped lines, and is written in an iambic pentameter, it is classified as heroic couplets. But does writing in heroic couplets make the poems childish or sound like a nursery rhyme? Does it add or take away from the musicality? It is up to the reader to decide, since different readers have different preferences of what they like to hear in a poem. Personally, My Last Duchess by Robert Browning is the most musical of the four poems because it uses rhyming couplets and jam lines and iambic pentameter, while not making the poem sound childish like a nursery rhyme. When I read a poem and am looking for musicality, I first look for rhyme, but I do not like poems written entirely in rhyme or rhyming couplets. I also look for a change towards the end of the poem, which either indicates a change in the thoughts of the poet or emphasizes the point that the poet is trying to make, whether in rhyme or rhythm. Comment below on which poem you feel has the most musicality, and what you look for when you look at musicality in poems. Thanks for watching!